With Ohio Senator J.D. Vance officially on the Republican presidential ticket, we've been getting questions about what happens to his U.S. Senate seat if Donald Trump wins the presidential election.
Columbus Bureau reporter Morgan Trout tells us that Republicans are already making their voices heard, expressing interest in Vance's spot.
J.D. Vance was just announced as the vice presidential candidate Monday, but the race is already on to replace his U.S. Senate seat if he and former President Donald Trump win the election.
Sometimes things go pretty straightforwardly, but sometimes you see a bunch of political gamesmanship.
Professor Jonathan Enton explains that while Vance is running, he doesn't need to step down from his seat. But if he wins, Governor Mike DeWine will need to appoint a replacement.
You often get a lot of political maneuvering anyway, especially if you have multiple people who are interested in the position.
He says that appointments typically fall into three categories: a prior candidate, a sitting member of Congress, or a statewide elected official. Republican strategist Bob Clegg says the governor has a lot of options in front of him.
The governor's going to pick somebody that will do a good job, will have good conservative beliefs, will be able to represent the majority of Ohioans.
Clegg says the most obvious pick would be State Senator Matt Dolan. The governor endorsed Dolan in the last U.S. Senate Republican primary, but he finished second to Bernie Moreno. Jane Timken is another popular name. She's a Trump ally who ran in 2022 and is currently the RNC committeewoman for Ohio. And former presidential candidate from Cincinnati, Vivek Ramaswamy, told Politico that he's interested.
If I were asked to serve, then I would strongly consider it.
Sitting members of Congress are also being proposed, like Trump ally Jim Jordan and moderate Dave Joyce. Statewide electeds like Attorney General Dave Yost are also being floated. But Yost's team told us that he's actively raising money for a 2026 run for governor. Clegg says that even if DeWine has a preference, the most important thing the governor will need to consider is re-election viability.
Somebody who can win and hold that seat, both in a primary and a general election.
The appointee would need to run in a special election in 2026 to keep the seat. But Enton offers that DeWine could appoint a placeholder instead.
Somebody who isn't controversial, who doesn't have long-term political ambitions, so that we can just get through this time period.
The governor says his main focus right now is the coming election. At the Ohio State House, I'm Morgan Trout reporting.
Donald Trump choosing J.D. Vance as his vice president has many reacting to the announcement, including Northeast Ohio's Ukrainian community. Vance has openly opposed our country's involvement in the Ukrainian-Russian conflict. Back in 2022, Vance made a TV appearance saying he didn't, quote, really care what happens to Ukraine one way or another, unquote. In a letter to the Financial Times, Vance cited issues with Europe not sending enough aid and calls on the country to, quote, stand on its own 2 feet. The president of local Ukrainian group says he's willing to do the work to strike a partnership with Vance and Trump if they are elected.
We have confidence that we can work with anybody in the Senate or in the White House, and we are confident that he and we will find a common language for the good of our American republic.
Neither Vance nor Trump has addressed this issue just yet since last night's running mate was announced.